Today, we're going to trace the incredible path of herbal remedies, from a simple plant growing in a field all the way to the finished product you might have on your shelf right now. I mean, have you ever really stopped to think about it? It's this amazing mix of ancient tradition and super modern science. So, how do we actually unlock all those powerful compounds hidden inside a plant's leaves and roots? Let's dive in and find out. All right, so where does this journey even begin? Well, the secret, not surprisingly, lies deep inside the plant itself. We're talking about these tiny, microscopic compounds that are the real source of its power. And the key to this whole thing? It comes down to one term: bioactive compounds. Now, I know, it sounds super scientific, but it's actually pretty simple. These are just the natural chemicals inside a plant that can have an effect on our bodies. They're basically the active ingredients, the stuff that actually does the work. And that idea leads us right into another cool concept: nutraceuticals. This word was actually made up back in 1989, and it's this perfect mashup of nutrition and pharmaceutical. It's all about products that come from food, but give you these extra health or medical benefits. Kind of blurs that line between what's food and what's medicine, right? So look at this. You see the fresh lavender plant on one side and the finished essential oil on the other. To get from A to B, scientists have to know exactly what they're working with. For lavender, they know its chemical makeup, they know it can help calm you down, and they know it can even help with wrinkles. But the big question is, how do you actually get those powerful compounds out of the plant and into that little bottle? Well, that brings us to the real science behind it all: extraction. This is the magic step where we isolate and concentrate all that good stuff from the plant. So, extraction, it's really just the name for the technique used to pull those valuable bioactive compounds away from all the other plant stuff. You can almost think of it like a treasure hunt, but on a totally microscopic scale.
Okay, so method number one is probably something you've done a million times without even realizing it. It's called infusion. And seriously, if you've ever made a cup of tea, congratulations, you've already done an extraction.
The whole process is just so simple and elegant. You take your plant material, we're usually talking about the softer bits like leaves and flowers, and you just let it steep in hot water. The heat pulls out all those water-soluble compounds. Give it about 15 minutes, filter out the solids, and boom, you've got a powerful herbal infusion. And you can see here, even the technical diagram is pretty straightforward. Infusion is all about extracting chemicals using a solvent, like water or oil. It works best on what they call soft drugs, leaves, flowers, and it's a method that's been around forever because it's simple and it just works. But okay, what if you're dealing with something tougher than a flower petal? Infusion is great for delicate stuff, but for things like roots or woody bark, you're going to need a different game plan. And that's where method 2, maceration, comes in. Think of it less like making tea and more like marinating something to slowly pull out all the flavor, or in this case, all the goodness. Now, this one definitely requires more patience. It's a much longer process. First, the plant material gets ground up. Then it's soaked in a solvent, usually something like alcohol or oil, inside a sealed container. And it just sits there for days, sometimes even a whole week. You give it a good shake every now and then to help things along, and then finally you strain the liquid. This diagram really walks you through that whole journey, right? From crushing the raw plant all the way to straining out that final potent liquid. It absolutely takes more time, no doubt about it, but that slow, steady pull from the solvent gives you a much, much more concentrated extract in the end. Okay, so we've got our extract. Now what? You can't just bottle up that liquid and call it a day. It has to be turned into a product that's stable and, actually usable. So let's take a look at how the ways we do that have changed over the years. This chart really lays it out perfectly. You've got the traditional methods, things like tinctures and powders that have been around forever, a bit less refined. Then came the modern era, with technology giving us things like tablets and capsules, which are way easier to take and absorb. And now, we're heading into this whole new world of novel formulations, using things like liposomes and even nanoparticles to make the remedies more stable and way more effective. So after all that science, where does this journey end? Well, it ends up on your shelf. Seriously. These herbal extracts are in products you see and use every single day, especially when you look at cosmetics. Honestly, you might want to go check your bathroom cabinet after this, because I bet you'll find some of these names on the labels. Aloe vera, almond oil, lavender. These are absolute staples in the cosmetic world, and for some really good reasons. Let's kick things off with a total classic: aloe vera. We all know this one, right? The gel comes from inside the leaf and it's packed with vitamins and these things called polysaccharides. That's exactly why it's so famous for soothing sunburns and helping your skin heal. Next up, we've got almond oil. This stuff is loaded with special oils that are full of protein, and they act as a really powerful antioxidant. It's no wonder you find it in tons and tons of skin lotions and creams. And of course, we have to talk about lavender. We all know that amazing, calming scent, but its oil does so much more. Cosmetically, it's used to soothe irritated skin and can even help reduce the look of fine lines and wrinkles. Pretty cool, huh? And last but not least, sandalwood. Its essential oil is an absolute cornerstone of the beauty industry. People love its unique fragrance, so you'll find it in everything from perfumes and soaps all the way to some really high-end facial creams. So there you have it. It's this incredible journey that takes ancient wisdom and blends it with super precise modern science. And it's a process that's always evolving, always getting better, to bring us more effective and more refined gifts from the natural world. It really makes you think, doesn't it? Nature's pharmacy has literally been open for thousands of years. With all that history behind us and all this amazing technology ahead, what else is out there waiting to be discovered? What do you think the next big cure will be? Thanks so much for joining me.